What's up, guys? It's Bones, and today I'm going to give you a little perspective on what it was like going from an iPhone 13 mini to an iPhone 16 Pro. Now, I'm not a person that likes to upgrade every single year when it comes out to technology, especially in the phone market, because I feel like for the most part, it doesn't really affect me in my day-to-day life. So like most of the tech stuff that I do on this channel, it's not for those people that are really into numbers and specs and things like that. Mine is just for like the casual, normal user, that something that they might notice if they upgraded to something. And for me, going from my 13 mini to my 16 Pro, one of the big differences I did notice was battery life. The battery on my 13 mini would just barely make it like half a day, and I would have to charge it. And granted, I know it's a 3-year-old phone. Batteries do deplete over time, and you don't get the same usage out of it. So on that aspect, it was time to upgrade, or at the bare minimum, get a new battery for my phone. But what I've realized, that if you're going to replace a battery on your phone on a 3-year-old phone, it's only going to get you so far, because eventually that battery and phone is going to feel extremely outdated when it's already 3 years. I'm all about keeping technology as long as you can, because you shouldn't have to upgrade every single time something comes out. If you can make do with what you have, that's awesome. But there is a time and point when it comes to phones that you should probably upgrade to get some of the newest features and benefits of it, especially when your old phone is just kind of getting lagged down over time. But anyway, the battery for the most part was just not cutting it, and I would say that's probably the biggest reason that I chose to upgrade. I probably would have even stuck with a 16 mini if that existed, but like most it doesn't exist. I wish they would have came out with it, but I'll hint more on that later in the video of what I feel like it's going to the next size up. So battery on my 16 Pro is a night and day difference. I can go almost a full day using the same amount of usage I would on my 13 mini, and I'll have probably 70% battery still left on it. What I normally do on my phone to use the battery is I get a lot of Teams messages, I go through photo apps, I go through social media just like the rest of you guys do. But something I feel like a lot of these people online are talking about, there's people like me who play a lot of daily fantasy sports and have fantasy leagues, and I spend quite a bit of time researching, going in on those apps, comparing players and things like that. And that does tend to tax your battery quite a bit. And on my 13 mini, I was definitely noticing that was a huge draw. 16 Pro, no problem on the battery with that. It's been super nice not having to plug in, or when I would go someplace, I would always bring my charger or a battery backup just to make sure that I didn't run out. Now I can just go out, even if my phone's only got 70% battery on it, I can still probably make it through the rest of the evening or whatever I was going to do, having the 16 Pro versus the 13 mini. My second thing I want to point out is the screen size. Obviously, going from a 13 mini to a 16 Pro, the screen size is way bigger. I was always a fan of smaller screen sizes. I generally liked the one-hand operation of the 13 mini, and it was so nice to be able to do that. Now when I work on the 16 Pro, it's definitely a two-handed operation, which, have I acclimated to it? Yes, I have. Is it nicer to have the bigger screen? For sure, on a lot of different things. Would I love a 16 mini Pro that had all the capabilities of the Pro level feature of a phone and battery life while keeping a smaller screen size? Absolutely. I think that would be the best bang kind of all around for my usage. I know I could live without the bigger screen, but this is just my point of view. So screen size, it's definitely been a difference. I will say, going to the 16 Pro, the screen definitely rolls smoother. Like that 120 hertz screen is a big difference compared to the 13 mini. So if you haven't been used to that, that is something you will notice going to a newer generation on the 16 Pro. As far as the other features go, like I know there's a dedicated camera button, there's an action button. In my few weeks of using this, I haven't really used them that fully. The camera button I just generally use to prop open my camera, so that way I can get to the camera mode really quick. There's plenty of other cool things about these phones, but I just want to give you guys kind of my experience when it comes to this, going from a 13 mini to a 16 Pro. With the iPhone 16 Pro, you've got basically 4 different lenses. There's 3 lenses on the back, but I guess there's a wide angle, so keep that in mind. This is the widest it goes at 0.5. When you open the camera, this is a 1x, and that's the standard lens that comes with it. Then you also got the 2x, which brings you in a little bit further, as well as having a bigger telephoto with the 5x in zoom. So there's probably a time and place definitely that you would use this and it would come in handy. You know, let's say you were like concert, maybe you want to get closer to your subject. You know, cool feature to have. Is it a deal breaker for me? Absolutely not, but it is a nice little perk to have and a nice little tool to have at your disposal. Another big difference between both these phones is that the Mini has a Lightning port, the Pro 16 has a USB-C port. So now I have to kind of go through and switch out all my cords. I do have USB-C stuff around my studio and at home, but it's just one of those things you're like, okay, now I have all these lightning cables that are not going to be used for anything anymore, so now I have to switch over the USB-C. I think long-term that's a good move, but just something to keep in mind if you are coming from an older generation iPhone to a newer one. Those are just a couple of things that I've noticed from being a real-world user of these phones and going from one to the other. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. So there's plenty of better reviews out there if you're looking for tech details and things like that. But mine is just giving you from that experience from the 13 mini to the 16 Pro. If your battery was like mine and it's just getting shot, it might be worth the upgrade for you. You can always go get your battery replaced, but at some point or another, even if you get your battery replaced, you're just prolonging the inevitable of having to get a new phone eventually and spending money on your old phone when you probably should have just upgraded to a new one. Hopefully this helps you out, guys. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing.